This is the Obro Owen Brody, and this is Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, brother, do you have herpes?
And we are wrestling with WWE Hell in a Cell review. It was last Sunday, and if you were smart, how'd you listen to it, Scooter?
You listen to it on the remix only on UNB Sports 2.
And,
Yep.
you know, WWE has been doing some pretty good Hell in a Cell pay previews. I will say that. Even if there's a clusterfuck of them, at least they're of some quality, I would say. But what about you, Kaliko? What was your thoughts on the show as a whole?
Went every match went how we thought it would go. I would think, except for I think a couple James just chooses to veer himself off of, but everything else went
That
the
was the
way it's
only one
supposed to
that got
go.
the Rhea Ripley Charlotte thing right.
What?
Yeah, I called for a smash finish, and it was.
Okay, Mister. Okay. But yeah, it went how it went. But then again, like we said, everything at this point is just trying to get to Money in the Bank to get to SummerSlam. So they're trying to get the crowd hyped for Money in the Bank, then let SummerSlam be their baby pretty much for the summer. So there it is. Pretty good show though.
What say you, Scooter?
I mean, the cell. I mean, the cell match is delivered. Honestly, probably one of the best actual Hell in a Cell matches, where it really looked like it could have been either at one point.
Well, let's get into it.
I'm assuming that's the main event, right?
Yes.
Okay, because the Bianca Bailey one, it was kind of like, ooh.
Hell in a Cell SmackDown Women's Championship match. Bianca Belair defeated Bayley in 19 minutes and 42 seconds. Does this strengthen Bianca? Does this do anything for her title run, or is it kind of a meh win, considering she beat Bayley already?
It's not a mad win because the stipulation it moves Bailey out the picture because Sasha is coming back. So I think the logic is the rematch at SummerSlam. I think that the logic would all arrows point towards Bianca Banks 2 at SummerSlam, just based on the the sheer reverence of the match at WrestleMania.
What say you, Scooter?
I mean, if you really thought Bailey was going to walk out of this the winner, I have a bridge to sell you, but this match, yeah, usually with Hell in a Cell, one is brutal in terms of the action, and one is usually brutal in terms of the storytelling of the psychological aspect. And this was the brutal one. This was the violent one. And it was obvious, and it takes something away from a match when you can be 100% sure who's going to win.
I know what you mean by that. That brings us to our next match. Seth Rollins defeated Cesaro in 16 minutes and 13 seconds. It's rumored that Seth Rollins might be wrestling Edge at SummerSlam. Uh, so do we think that this was just to get to Money in the Bank blow off, or is this going well into SummerSlam?
Well, considering that, you would think, this would be Cesaro's year for Money in the Bank.
You said that Cesaro would win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and then I said Drew. But it's very odd when you've just released so many people, and yet you have too many people for a match that's supposed to have a minimum of 8 people.
Isn't there 8 participants in this show?
Yeah, yes, there's 8, but there's a lot of extra people that could have been served by being in it. Cesaro being one of them.
Well, that goes back to what I've said something in the past about Money in the Bank becoming too mainstream and not giving, the younger guys maybe the opportunities that they deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, technically, there are 3 more spots on SmackDown, so I guess I shouldn't
Count Cesaro
exactly.
up.
Yeah, because Owens and yeah, because it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And by the way, since we're talking about the potential Edge match at SummerSlam, guess who returned last night?
Who?
Edge.
You think we know him?
And yet we don't. We still don't. 30 years later.
So it's could we get Roman and Edge? I mean,
Again?
Edge being in this year's Money in the Bank would be kind of cool to see.
Kind of cool, but it does also take away from somebody that really deserves that spot.
True.
What about you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts on the Seth Rollins Cesaro match and the possibility of a Seth Rollins Edge match at SummerSlam?
Well, Seth getting the win, it kind of makes it seem like it's not over, right?
Right.
Because you would have thought when Cesaro got the win at Mania, it was over, right?
Yes.
But this is the first time that I've seen in a while where a WrestleMania match was used to be the genesis of a feud. Because think about it, WrestleMania, then they had the Hell in a Cell. WrestleMania, then Cesaro got the title match, so he got the springboard that everyone thought he would get. He lost, and then Seth kind of came in and did what he had to do to continue it. So it's one of those things where it's like they're not done yet. But to be quite honest, Seth could go with Cesaro or Edge, but I feel like Edge doesn't need the money in the bank to get to Roman, right? I would think so.
Yeah. I'd say so too.
I mean, there's still that heavy rumor that it's Reigns and John Cena at SummerSlam.
Right. So my thing is, the only way Cesaro at this point could even get back in the title picture is to win the Money in the Bank. But the problem is that both Raw and SmackDown don't have legit contenders that are face and heel on either program that could mesh with the champions and keep them busy until we emerge with the Money in the Bank winner. Because the problem is who would win it on Raw that you would believe that could beat Lashley, right? Or sneak up on Lashley. Or who do you think is the challenger that can beat Lashley?
Well, this is
likewise on SmackDown. Who do you think is credible to beat Roman?
There was a lot of rumor about sending Big E back to Raw to be the one that faces Bobby Lashley instead.
Now, if they continue with this Kofi storyline, because that would make sense. You see what I'm saying? Xavier gets put out by Lashley. Kofi's getting whooped on by Lashley. Big E comes in and makes the save. That makes 1,000% sense because they're all tight like that. So that's something that wouldn't be out of the realm of, not normal.
Yeah, I mean,
but even with that, SmackDown still needs a challenger.
I mean, considering that there's still that big thing about the SummerSlam main event still needing to be seen to be believed.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
What if Kofi does the impossible?
Kofi versus Lesnar at SummerSlam?
No. Kofi versus Big E.
Ooh, okay. That might be something.
Ooh, but there would have to be a reason.
I don't think Big E really needs a reason.
Or rather, I should say, Big E defending against Kofi.
Interesting.
It's an interesting thing. It won't happen, but
it's just stuff that got to make sense. To me, all those ideas are good if they make it make sense.
Something that did happen on this show, Alexa Bliss defeated Shayna Baszler in 6 minutes and 55 seconds. This seemed like it was the let-me-up match, even though it was kind of a blow-off. Honestly, I don't really know what to make of this, considering Bliss beat Baszler very cleanly. Kaliko, you want to shed some light on it?
Then that tells me that Bliss is about to get a visitor, and it ain't gonna be who she wants it to be.
So, all right, somebody will have to go to the store and get her some pads. Oh wait, you were talking about that visitor. You were talking about the Crimson Tide.
Not Tom.
Not
but,
Aunt Chloe.
but yeah, that tells me Bray might be coming because they still got some shit to finish, and that's the problem. It's like a lot of loose ends that kind of got left off. That are like, okay, some of this shit's got to get finished eventually. Eventually, let's pray. Eventually,
Something that will never be finished eventually. Sami Zayn defeated Kevin Owens in 12 minutes and 39 seconds. Basically just another Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match, right?
Yep. There's nothing to say. There really isn't. I mean,
Raw Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley defeated Charlotte Flair. Viva disqualification.
Yeah, Raw. Turn it around.
Oh, yes, you're right. Charlotte Flair defeated Rhea Ripley. Viva disqualification and 14
Viva
minutes
disqualification.
and
Viva
11 seconds.
So sorry.
Are you saying that Dave Meltzer is betraying me right now?
Viva disqualification. No,
Ripley and Flair continue. Right move, Scooter?
Yeah. Yeah, considering that Raw is putting all their potential contenders in Money in the Bank.
What say you, Kaliko?
Yep. I mean, either that or Charlotte gets to go, this bitch disqualified herself because she knows she couldn't beat me. That's where I was kind of mad about, because if anybody needed a win over Charlotte, it would have been Rhea, because of the simple fact that, A, she still got that WrestleMania hangover from getting her ass drugged by her. So to me, I see what they're trying to do, set up the Money in the Bank. Lynch comes back, but then what? Because
I mean, it's definitely a storyline you want to extend between her and Charlotte, considering she does have that loss over her head.
But the problem is it's going to become a triangle, because technically they're in a square. They were in a square for a minute with Asuka, Nikki, Rhea, and Charlotte.
Not
for the title per se, but
I mean, technically Nikki's out of it now, so.
True.
And now she's just Money in the Bank filler. But this their rematch at Money in the Bank most likely is going to be the title chance by DQ or count out.
Pretty much.
And let me ask this: does Rhea Ripley need it to be a championship match against Charlotte to get that definitive win against her? Could it just be,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because of the simple fact of the history of her getting mollywopped at Mania. Yes, it has to be. The same thing I said with Asuka. When Asuka lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania, and they did those series of Asuka Charlotte matches, and I was like, Asuka needs these wins because she needs to get back, and that's what Rhea needs. Rhea needs that payback.
Next match, WWE Hell in a Cell championship match. Bobby Lashley defeated Drew McIntyre in 25 minutes and 44 seconds. Drew McIntyre is out of the title picture for a little while. Is that maybe a good thing or a bad thing, considering we're getting crowds in less than a month?
Well, he's got a last chance qualifier for Money in the Bank on Monday.
Very true.
So, AJ Styles already ordered Drew McIntyre.
Do you wait Do you wait until Bobby Lashley loses the belt to put him back in the picture, or does he need to slay that dragon?
This is that's an you know I don't know if Drew has to beat Lashley anymore.
No, I mean, even if the rivalry ends here and he gets the championship back, Lashley still has that over his head. I think that he
I
wasn't
mean,
able to beat him.
yeah, but don't forget Backlash last year.
True. But I don't think WWE wants you to remember that. What about you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, to me he's not gonna win the last chance match, because the story in the sense that was being told in the cell was that you couldn't beat me without MVP. So he sets up this Hell in a Cell with his stipulations to keep MVP out. When the ref got knocked down, Lashley called for the other ref, thus opening the gate, trying to get the benefit, but it also became his curse.
It was Drew that called for the other ref.
What was that?
It was Drew that called for the other ref.
That's what I said. When Drew called for the other ref for the count,
Yeah,
it became his gift and the curse.
exactly.
It became the blessing and the curse. So he did himself over. To me, he's done.
It does look like they're running on a Drew is hitting a string of bad luck.
Either that or he's going heel, because
oh no,
and the only reason I would say that, and the only reason I would even say that, is because Obsession is a motherfucker. Because now, especially with them trying to do these not really good guy, bad guy, but more shade of grayish, it would make sense where he thinks that he's doing the right thing and trying to do right by himself. But in actuality, he's fucking everybody over.
Well, that begs the question. If Drew McIntyre is out of the title picture and, Roman is obviously wrestling Cena, Lashley is having some type of match at the event, what does Drew McIntyre do? And is it a big match? Is it a marquee match? Or does he kind of just fade into the back at this point?
That's the problem. That's a good question.
I mean, maybe we revisit Drew and Sheamus
Again?
For the U.S. title. That's the only thing that would make sense.
Like,
because where else would he go?
Like, and that's the thing, is that if that were to happen, McIntyre would have to lose to kick off that heel potential. I mean, or he returns to teaming with Sheamus, and we get a new United Kingdom stable.
I don't think we need another one of those.
We good on those.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's gonna be hard.
Ooh. If Finn Balor can go back to NXT, why can't Drew have a brief stopover in NXT UK?
Oh, so maybe like a walk-door match?
Bingo.
Hmm,
They just announced they were returning to England.
that's true. The other thing that I could maybe think of is if Brock Lesnar is not in the title picture for SummerSlam,
No.
maybe going up against the guy that gave him his last loss would be
No.
interesting.
No, because that loss doesn't mean crap to Lesnar.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Uh, at this point, Lesnar, if he returns at all, should be facing people he hasn't faced, or he should put over the ones he's beaten.
What about
But hasn't everyone he's beaten he's put over? With the exception of like Ricochet, AJ, Ray.
there's a lot of people he didn't put over.
Meaning that he should give them their win back.
I mean, we could see a Royal Rumble rematch for Drew.
No.
No.
Jesus, no.
I mean, the other only alternative is Dolph Ziggler.
Anybody. It's just weird. It's just weird because we're just trying to figure out what they're going to do to try to bring SummerSlam back, or to get to SummerSlam.
I mean, I would, if they hadn't stuck him in a team with Riddle, I would have said Randy Orton.
Well, I think maybe Randy Orton and Riddle are going to be in the title picture in maybe for SummerSlam.
I mean,
it's going to be a couple of tag teams in the.
Yeah, I mean, Randy Orton going to SummerSlam, to face another BL.
Well, and Riddle. I mean, if Riddle wins the Money in the Bank and Randy Orton is the snake that he is, he could worm his way into a triple threat match for SummerSlam.
Or I could see Randy Orton manipulating Riddle into giving him the Money in the Bank.
Exactly.
briefcase.
But at some point, Riddle is going to have to.
I'll give you the key to your mouth if you give me the Money in the Bank briefcase.
You know what? I wouldn't even, considering all the ways we've seen it go down, that wouldn't be one of the worst ways.
Alright, guys. Hell in a Cell pay preview. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, Scooter.
It's like the thumb was severed but reattached just in time.
Okay then.
So you don't have full dexterity in it yet. You gotta wait.
Kaliko?
That dude said severed and then it's still dangling. It's undangling.
No. I said it was severed but reattached in time.
Oh God! So it had the what? It beat the 2 hours that it needed to.
Yeah, they got in time, put it on ice, and Frankie Moniz dog didn't eat it.
And if it wasn't a mini sausage.
None of the Ivy fucked it up. Okay, man, we got it. It was a solid show. It wasn't their best show, but it was it did what it needed to do, which is got everything moving. Either kept shit moving or ended shit. So it was a solid show. It wasn't like the greatest show. So C. Give it a C.
We're not doing great. It's thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
That's what I said. Middle. Average. C. Average. The main event saved it.
I thought it was
Match of the night, Seth Cesaro and the main event. There you
I'll give it. I'll give it a thumbs up. I thought it was a good show. And that'll conclude our coverage of WWE Hell in a Cell. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us this Wednesday as we interview Robin Renegade. You absolutely do not want to miss it. Of course, this episode was sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WRESTLINGWITHE for 10% off your next purchase. And follow the show on Twitter and Instagram for everything wrestling with entertainment related. At Wrestling with E. And you can follow us individually as well. I'm at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kaliko?
go. You can find me trying to redo these dad jokes that I am Kaliko. I'm trying. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get one.
And where can they find Scooter?
Of course, you can find me in the brightest day, in the blackest night. And if you want to find me on Twitter, it's at ScooterDust. And of course, check us out, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons. We, along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the other Dragons, play a whole bunch of games, Dungeons & Dragons, a whole load of stuff. Mario Golf's coming up this week. That's going to be fun. 20 sides to every story. Come be a part of ours. Twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons. Also, the remix, Money in the Bank, comes your way July 18th.
I believe it's the 18th.
18th, yes. Hopefully, it's still there.
Maybe it wasn't ever there to begin with. For Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.